Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition of Kayal Podcast Home. So, it's Avengers week, and I'm going to see it later tonight. I'm going to go see Infinity War. I've gone into blackout mode the past 24 hours because people have already started to see it, and I do not want any goddamn memes. I do not want any spoilers. I mean, I have my own general ideas about what's happening, but I don't know for sure. I don't know the specifics. I want the thrill. I want the what's going to happen next feeling when I watch it, because if I don't have that feeling, it's going to suck. Because that's why at Christmas time I tell people, don't tell me what you're going to get me, because I hate knowing what I'm going to get, and it's just, to me, it's a killjoy. It really is. Like, I could be getting the greatest gift of all time. If I know I'm already getting it, it's like, ugh. It's like, there's this whole, like, social contract thing going on where it's not my favorite thing to know what I'm getting. So, I'm going to go see Avengers tonight. So I was on Instagram last night, and I was, for the first 20 or so picks of the draft, the NFL draft, I was giving my takes on the players that were taken. And I gotta say, there was a lot of offensive linemen because people have good quarterbacks, and there was a lot of defensive linemen because people have good quarterbacks. And you really are watching the first round for the quarterbacks. You're seeing which teams could very well be relevant for the next 10 to 15 years, or which teams are going to get screwed over because the guy they just drafted is going to be a bust. Because the way that teams are set up, they want their great players to be first-round picks because they control them for the first 5 years. Like, it's a team-friendly contract. Then, when the first contract is up, they get their own contract based on how well they performed, and teams really want to be able to be in the position where they have to pay somebody, because that means they're doing good. Then you realize, though, if you draft for need instead of best player on the board, you screw your team over for 5, maybe 8 years, because all that help that all the other teams that just took the best available player, they are doing better than you because they're getting more production out of their contracts. Meanwhile, that's an oversimplification, but it's the basis of why it's important. So, the top four top four picks was between 3 teams. Cleveland had first and fourth, and the Giants had the second. Meanwhile, the Jets had traded up to get the third pick in the draft. Now, the Jets the past couple of years have had a knack for getting the best player in the draft because of the way things shake out. Leonard Williams comes to mind. The guy was projected to go 1 overall, but there was 2 quarterbacks that were worth a damn. I want to say he was in the Mariota and the Winston draft. I'm not entirely sure offhand, but just for the sake of argument, that's what it was. There was 2 quarterbacks that were going to go 1 and 2, and then the teams that were picking before the Jets, because I think the Jets were picking 5th that year. So 3 and 4 did not need a defensive end or a defensive back or whatever Williams plays. So the Jets got Leonard Williams because of the way things break down. So if you're in a top 5 position consistently, meaning you suck year in and year out, but the economics of football is, when you're rebuilding, you're going to suck, or you're going to tank, or you're going to trade up to get a good player that's going to make a difference for your franchise. So the miracle of Cleveland is that they've been drafting at the top of the draft for maybe 14 years, and they still are mostly irrelevant. But that's not because they've been drafting so poorly. It's just that they have several busts in the first round. Like, they had like 5 straight busts, or give or take, depending on how you look at it, the past 5 years, or however you look at it. But the way that the other half of it's set up, just for the record, Cleveland will draft guys for one guy system, fire the guy, they still keep the players around, and they're not good fits in the system. Then they'll get another coach, or they'll get another GM. I can't remember if Cleveland's had more GMs that or quarterbacks in the last 4 years. But so Cleveland picks Baker Mayfield first overall, and Baker Mayfield may be the best quarterback in college at the time. He's 6 foot, which is small by quarterback standards. He's kind of accurate, but he's not Drew Brees accurate. He's kind of fast, but he's not Russell Wilson fast. So those were the 2 comparisons. So when you're a hybrid of Russell Wilson and Drew Brees, you're either going to suck, or because you're not good enough at both to be able to play, or you might just be like a decent quarterback. And Cleveland does not have a track record for developing players. However, I will say this: the year that they went 1-15, and even like last year when they went 0-16, Cleveland at least played hard. Like, they didn't have the talent. They didn't have like the veteran talent around that that forces people to play better. And I don't know if Paul DePodesta's there. If he's there and he's an analytically driven mind, like, I expect them to win eventually, just because like there's certain people that are just too damn smart to not figure things out. But the Sashi Brown used to be the GM, not even the GM, the VP of football operations, and he was in charge until they let him go. And he was, I don't know if it was a shadow figure in the previous regimes or not, but like, I think once Cleveland has organization stability, I think they'll have like decent teams. But like, they've had like good players and good starts, but like, they trip over themselves. Well, anyway, they go Baker Mayfield. I know one person on Twitter, I follow her stuff, she's a Browns fan, and the first thing I said to her was like, you having Manziel flashbacks? And I have not gotten a response. So next up is the Giants, and the Giants picked pretty quickly. They knew who they were getting, and they didn't trade out to get more picks, because they could have used some spots filled, because they do have a lot of needs. They did not take a quarterback because they, for whatever reason, they just didn't take a quarterback. Either they didn't believe him in any of the ones that were left, and you knew it wasn't because Baker Mayfield was taken off the board. Like, Baker Mayfield is not a Giants guy. Like, certain organizations, they take the same guy over and over again, and to me, it's hilarious that LT was a Giants guy. So they take Saquon Barkley, who is probably the best player in the draft, and he's a running back. Now, here's the important part about running backs in the NFL. They don't last long. They are the reason why the NFL is called not for long league. The running back has to be an immense talent to deserve being drafted in the first round, especially high in the first round, especially with the second pick. So So they take the running back, and he's got to be incredible. He's got to be like carrying them to division championships this year, because the fact that they didn't take a quarterback and what happened next, like, just shows you like the Giants are riding Eli until Eli doesn't produce or anymore. So Jets, with the third pick in the draft, take Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold is the guy that everyone's been looking at for the last 2 years, saying he's going to be good. But every time the draft happens, about 2 or 3 quarterbacks you've never heard of just pop up. They just pop up, and they they confuse people. Like, everyone thought Johnny Manziel was going to be a first-round draft pick just because of the way he did things, but the reason why he got the Heisman was because he beat Alabama, and he set records. But the way the system was set up in Texas A&M was you go deep every time, and it doesn't matter if you get beat 3 out of 5 times, but if it pays off once, it's a long-ass game. So something like that does not carry well into the NFL. Like, the people working there are too good. Then Johnny Manziel didn't have a playbook in Texas A&M, but meanwhile Baker Mayfield did. All these other guys probably did. But the Jets take Sam Darnold, who is a Californian quarterback. He played for the same school that Mark Sanchez did, and I think a lot of people, when they heard that, just had a lot of like bad flashbacks. But hopefully they learned their lesson with Mark Sanchez and just like don't give him a lot to do. Ease him in, train him right, and he should be good. Like, he had the highest upside out of everyone, but I tell that to the Browns people. Like, Brandon Whedon had the highest upside out of everyone. Like, I heard a stat today, like, that Brandon Whedon and Brock Osweiler were picked by, like, Mike Holmgren and not Joe Namath, not Montana, John Elway. John Elway picked Brock Osweiler. Meanwhile, afterwards, Kirk Cousins, I'm trying to think who the third one is, but I think Russell Wilson was also in that draft. They were all in the same draft. I mean, hell, even in the Manziel era, it was Manziel to the Browns, bust. Teddy Bridgewater to the Vikings, not a bust, but at the same time, like, injuries. So he was the best one. And Blake Bortles went 3, and he, like, not lucked, but like, he somehow managed to get into the AFC Championship game in spite of himself, and in spite of his lack of talent. So, like, props to him. So, Jets get Sam Darnold, and Giants take the running back, which everyone hated just because like, it just shows you that they're trying to win with Eli for the next 3 years, but for the next 15, they just like put everything in jeopardy. So now the Giants are looking for that second round, third round quarterback that can just carry the team and not screw up like a game manager. And they might have that in Davis Webb, I don't know. So Browns come back for the 4th pick, and everyone's thinking they're going to take Chubb, who is like an unmissable talent, or they're going to take another guy that's an unmissable talent, maybe Quentin Nelson. But nope, they go with a cornerback and from Ohio State, which I'm expecting that guy to be good. Ohio State is one of the best like defensive teams in the country, like year in and year out, so it's not like they have lack of talent. But the look on everyone's face of Cleveland does it again, they screw up, that was priceless. So the draft was interesting. Like, once you get past the quarterbacks, because you had guys trading up to get quarterbacks. The Bills took, I want to say, Josh Allen at 10, and Josh Rosen, I think he went to, maybe I have been mixed up. I know it was like the Bills and the Cardinals got Allen and Rosen. And then there was a fifth quarterback, which everyone was saying, well, because he's black, he's not going to make a good quarterback, which the amount of people telling me that's bullshit is just crazy. Like, everyone looks at the numbers, looks at what he is, and it's like one guy says he should be a wide receiver. I was like, really? Gotta be on left field on that one, do you? So the Ravens trade back into the first round, so he is the 32nd pick in the draft. Now, I myself am an assault aficionado, so I could see the Ravens guy are coming up in like either a year or two, and just being one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I could see that. So all right. So some of you may be wondering, like maybe the one true dedicated fan that I have, where is the third Avengers or not Avengers, but Marvel video for Phase 3? The truth is, I've been trying my ass off to get that thing on the internet, but I shot an hour of footage talking about Phase 3 and beyond for yesterday. And that motherfucker is still in editing. Every time I edit it, something goes wrong with it. My phone was incapable of making an hour-long movie through the process that I used. So I tried that 3 times. That didn't work. So I had to put it on my computer. And of course, the battery dies on my computer, so right now it's charging. And I had tried putting out the video itself, but the sound on it wasn't working. And to be fair, you guys don't want to hear the whole time while I'm talking, or supposed to be talking. So I had to change that up. So today, along with this video, it will be put up. I apologize. You would think making a handful of videos in 1 week wouldn't be a challenge, but it so was. Alright, so keep it short. I want to talk about some goals I have for the weekend. My internet was good enough to do a stream last weekend, so I'm going to try and do a stream this weekend again. I'm going to keep up with the learning how to play Fortnite. I like the idea of the game. Like, it's not dynamic by yourself enough, but the tension of and plus I'm debating whether or not I'm actually gonna like pay money to do it, because the free version is fun, but it's not so much fun. Like, you get a pickaxe to start the game, which is your one melee weapon, and then you have to find a bunch of stuff to use, and then you have to like not get killed, basically, because you only have one life. And the one time I played with a group, like I followed someone down to the ground who I thought was one of my teammates. No, that was a quick death. I was dead in the first 5 minutes. The other guys, I want to say they were speaking Spanish, a version of Spanish, and I understood the one word they were calling me. So definitely going to do more streams on Fortnite. I might do a like a video for Let It Die on just getting the remaining Death Rally stamps that I need. But the way that works is such a pain in the neck, because not every stamp is available at all times. Like, there are certain levels that you have to go to that just aren't there, and that's a pain in the neck. So let's see, I'm going to do a reaction video later to Avengers Infinity War. I'm not going to have any spoilers in it, but it's 10 years in the making. I'm gonna try and enjoy myself as much as possible. I swear to God, if I sit in front of kids that are talking during the movie or on their phones or whatever, I'm chucking everything that I have at them, popcorn, soda, whatever. I'll start a fight in there. I'll really ruin it. But that's how much I really want this movie to be good. So, all right, guys. Peace.